Kirk Kerkorian was one of the 10 richest men in the world, and he built half of Las Vegas. He built the MGM Grand, Caesar's Palace, and he made Elvis into a superstar. He was very generous with his wealth, and this little town in Armenia was leveled to the ground from an 8.5 earthquake. And I mean, literally, the whole city would crash to the ground. And this guy, Kirk Kerkorian, went there, $500 million to rebuild the town. And they're going to put this statue up in that little town. There are very few photos that you can find of Kirk Kerkorian with him from head to toe. And this was one of the few. And so I knew what the statue was going to be, 7 feet, so I divided that photo into 7. And then each one of those represents a foot. And then I broke that down to get his dimensions from his eyes, his nose, his mouth, his chin, to determine how big the head will be. So you sculpt it out of this, what is called 4-pound sculptural foam, and then we cover it with clay. Like this has been covered with clay. A thin layer of clay, and then you take this to the foundry, and then they cast it in bronze.
Now, how long did it take you to complete the footwork?
Oh, I have an assistant, and he knocked out the shoes in a day.
Oh, okay.
Or maybe 2. And then we covered it in clay. That takes another, this took a day, just the pants and the shoes, to cover it in clay. And it took me 2 days to work on the face.
Oh, wow.
I mean, it took me 4 days to sculpt it, and then 2 days to cover it in a thin layer. You see this right here? Mm-hmm. That's the foam underneath the clay, and that will be covered by clay soon. This is the photo I'm using to sculpt the coat. But see, again, it's hard to tell where his feet are. And this was one of the few photos I could find of him from the side. He's always being photographed from the front. Here's another photo of him, a profile. And this is how I got all the dimensions of the head. By taking that thing I showed you. This is the 1 foot, and then I broke it down. I went to a small town university in Louisiana, and I didn't know how lucky I would be to get this incredible faculty. And it's a 5-year curriculum, and they had 250 freshmen start, and they graduate 7. The attrition was brutal. But boy, when you got, and there were a lot of 50-year students who have been trying to get out of there for 2 or 3 years, passing everything. And they did this in order to make their own brand. Mm-hmm. They wanted to make sure that they taught you well. When we were in Copenhagen, we got the word we were going to do a command performance for the Queen of England with the Beatles, Tom Jones, and Dusty Springfield. And I went, what? I'm going to meet the Beatles? And I was pinching myself. The very next day, we get word that the Beatles canceled because they've already played for the Queen several times and they've already been knighted, so they canceled. So I'm just stuck with having to play for the Queen with Tom Jones and Dusty Springfield.
That's still pretty good.
Yeah,
Tom Jones.
I got over it. But it turns out, when I was in London, I met Paul McCartney. And we had a good talk, and there's a backstory that I cannot share in public. New Year's Eve.
Oh,
and we were talking, and we were going to be broadcast. They were filming TV, and we were talking about what was going to happen between song 4 and song 5. And we were talking, and I got out of the taxi. We got up there. Oh my God, where's my guitar? Martin guitars, this is Martin,
Yeah.
are the best known and best loved acoustic
Nazareth,
steel.
PA, right?
Nazareth, Pennsylvania.
They had just done the big, in Allentown, they have a huge, like arena where people play. I saw Chicago there way back home. And so they just got finished playing the huge arena in Allentown. And what's his name? C.F. Martin Sr. He loved, the new Christy Minstrels. So he's like, oh my God, you guys, you're amazing. I'm going to give you all free guitars.
Whoa.
And so
he
Bruce
did,
already had
except
Martin.
He gave guitars to everyone except people who already had a Martin, which I did.
Ah.
So
And
Bruce
there-
got that case. That case is like from 1968 or something.
And so we were freaked out. We did the show, and then I called C.F. Martin Sr.
Whoa.
Because they were getting ready to go to Europe. Like
Yeah.
this was
And
New Year's Eve. It's like nobody's open, no stores are
Yeah.
open. It's like, hey CF, lost my guitar here in New York. Can you get me a guitar? He said, I'm gonna go to the factory and I'm gonna pick you out the best guitar we made all year. This guitar has spruce from the turn of the 1900s. So this is like from 1900. This spruce.
Wow.
I know.
That is awesome.
And he
that
sent
is
me
the
this.
purest of wood.
Exactly.
He sent me this guitar right before we left for Europe.
And I'm sure you played very well that day, right? Shredding crazy.
Let me know when you're ready.
I'm ready, my love. We're being videoed.
C'est bon, c'est bon, c'est bon, baby. Hey, baby, c'est bon. Toujours avec Loulou, la grande, la belle Mamou. C'est bon, baby. Hey, baby, hey, baby.
C'est bon.
There's a town in the guava where the hipsters hang, where the food is the end of the meat. And then a woman called Big Mamu, she was weighing the bird on the street. But then a little turn with the leaves, and took a light and phone for two. From a band to line out of New Orleans, they all pray to Big Mamu. Big Mamu, clean up butter. Big Mamu, she a hurricane. Big Mamu, cracking down the fire on the fucking train.
She got lightning in the bottle. She got the bottle in her hand. Dancing in the rain with the Dukes of Dixieland. Mirrors on the fire. Louisiana skies. Fragrant of fingertips. Voodoo in her eyes.
Big Mamu, queen of the quarter. Big Mamu, she a hurricane. Big Mamu, cracking down the
Fire on the fucking train. Big Mamu.
the sinners of the saints and all that jazz. You got the rhythm and the blues. You got royalty and the blues going down and back to the leather shoes. Like a mine in Mississippi, she got all you looking for. Don't matter what it is. Big Mamu got more. Yeah, Big Mamu, queen of the water. Big Mamu, she a hurricane. Big Mamu, cracking down the
Fire on the fucking train. Big Mamu, queen of the water. Big Mamu,
she a hurricane. Big Mamu, cracking down the That's pretty
That's
fucking
it.
good, man.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Awesome.
pick it, pick it.
Awesome.
He anticipated
You guys are
the
great.
breakdown.